42 42% worldwide market. So you can say very it is very major share of the US market in the medical device. You can see the devices which you are utilizing, whether it is manufactured in India or in outside. Most of the medical devices are manufactured or invented outside India, and they are still imported from the foreign countries. Those are very sophisticated medical device. There are so many sophisticated bigger medicine, bigger machines, okay, like MRI machines, uh, X-ray machines. These are always exported from outside the India. Okay. And like US innovation derives the market. So what they are saying that US is the leader of this medical device market, and they are innovating new products every day. Okay. And more US products rest than rest of the world combined. So what they are saying that US alone itself had maximum number of medical device one side, and another side, if you will compare rest of the world, then still, like rest of the world have 8 devices in market, so US have 20 devices into the market. So that is the vast difference. So why it is increasing, and but it is increasing, but not able to you commercialize, or you can say difficult to commercialize. Why? What is the reason? Because of the cost. Because as you see, if you want to set up a pathology, you can set up because reagents are very cheaper. But if you want to set up a lab, you cannot set up a lab because you need X-ray machine, you need so many machines, you need to go for MRI machine, and like sonography machine, ultrasound machine, everything you required, okay, when you are going to set up a lab. So that machines are very much costly. Consumer versus agency regulations, yes, like the consumer are for these tests are very less. Okay, because when you are compared with drug versus device, so most of us we always utilize the drug, but very rare of us go for these scans or these X-rays every time or on regular basis. Okay, so consumer for these medical devices are less, and the agency regulations. So the overall regulations are very strict, very stringent for these medical devices. Okay, because these devices are to diagnose something, to cure something. It should not like that it is giving you an adverse reaction. Suppose I will tell you a real incident that one of my known one have a pacemaker inside his body. Okay, but anyhow that pacemaker giving a current to his body, because a certain lead is outside to the, or it is not properly fixed inside the body, and it is in open it, and it is, whenever it is touching some part of the body, it is giving them shock. Because prime what is the primary function of pacemaker? When your heart is like having no movement, at that time it will give a shock, so that your heart became working. Okay, the lubbed up sound and everything will become functional by those shocks only. So same, when that lead is touching to some part of body other than heart, then it is assume, or it is like they are suppose that lead is considering that body part as a heart, and they are giving shock to that body part also. Okay, so this is a real incident which I have experienced with one of my known one. So it was diagnosed with the X-ray again, and further an operation is done to fix that lead of that pacemaker. So that's why it is the regulations are very stringent. If anyone is used that medical device, uh, there should be proper functioning and so many things which need to be fixed. Okay, before utilizing such devices, increasing the control improves safety and effectiveness at the expense of the commercial progress. So yes, they are saying that control improve safety, like there are so many controls to improve the safety of the medical devices and effectiveness, and that also increase the cost of those devices. Suppose previously you have to pass one test for, you know, to have that medical device ka lab, but now you have, if you, suppose you are going, and nowadays if you want to open a lab for, so you cannot rely on only one device. If you want to, suppose you want to open a lab, then you cannot say that I will open only x-ray lab. That's it. You have to diversify in future. After x-ray you will, because every time you will not get the customer of x-ray, right? So when you have to multiple devices, multiple machines in your uh, lab, that will expense you more, and that's how you have to more controlled. More control means you have to follow more obligations to being effectiveness with the devices. Overseas manufacturing and product launch, as it is very much clear, very much evident that US is the leader of this medical device industry, then due to which the manufacturing and the product launch is always toward higher side for the countries who are taking those facilities from for their countries. What USA is manufacturing for their country in $10, that same is costing us in $10,000 in India. Okay, so this is a brief about the medical device industry. These are certain example, you can say, of medical devices. Like what are those? I will read for one of them for you, like implant bracing, patient monitoring equipments, x-ray machine, x-ray systems, wheelchairs, hearing aid, device for blood glucose measurement. Guys, are you with me or no? Say yes or no. Are you able to understand? Okay, can someone tell me what is a medical device? Vedrashri, who all? I need to check the names. Arshia, what is medical device? Azhar, can you explain what is medical device? Anyone? Kavya, Dr. Kavya, can someone explain me the device are which supports the body to function? Body of, okay, practice, including component part. Okay, okay. Hmm. And these are some example of devices. Okay. Now coming to you can see these are certain pictures, like this is MRI machine, I believe this is X-ray machine. Okay, and there are certain, I believe it is a glucometer. You can say this small child having so many apparatus, and this is some diodes are fixed for, I believe it is for ECG or something. Okay, nowadays very like a nebulizer machine is what it is, a medical device to take a steam. Okay, what is a BP apparatus? It is a medical device. What is a glucometer? It is a medical device. Okay. These syringes. Okay, these sections or these needle, these are the tip of the syringe actually, in which you can fix the needle as per the size, right? These are reagent kits actually. Okay, and these are some meters. All are these what actually? These are apparatus, or you can say medical device. Okay. Now coming to very basic thing, like what, how that device differ from the drug. So drug is based on basically the chemistry and pharmacology. The device is based on the engineering. The drug is basically for the safety and efficacy, and the device is basically for safety and performance accuracy. Performance and accuracy, you can say. The drug have to pass through the clinical trial, the four phases of the clinical trial. Device have also a clinical evaluation that is called feasibility test. Okay, for drug we have to follow the GMP. The device we have to follow the QMS, that is quality management services. So drug is basically local and systemic toxicity, and drug should and device should be biocompatibility. When you are using a device, so you need to ensure that device is biocompatible. Biocompatible means that is compatible with your body where you are utilizing it. Okay, so long product life cycle for a drug. Why a long product life cycle? Because the clinical trial last for years, and the durability of these tablets and at least lasts for 2 to 3 years. Okay, short product life cycle. Okay, so device, like most of the device is one time use, and the device which are machines, like machines are very sophisticated, and we need to proper maintenance care. Like you have seen when you will go to the X-ray room or to the ultrasound room or to MRI room, that it required proper kind of chambers, fully AC, and the AC have certain fixed temperature, like it should be not more than 20 degrees centigrade, I believe. So they, that kind of maintenance are required. So that's why the product life cycle for device is very short, and it is an additional cost incur to maintain such device, such highly costly device. Okay, drug can have the drug interaction, device can have the device malfunction. Device malfunction means, suppose you are utilizing a syringe of to inject the insulin, but you required 1 unit of insulin need to be injected, and you have utilizing the same 1 unit syringe, but it is not dispensing 1 unit syringe. Sorry, it is not dispensing the 1 unit of insulin. Then it is a device malfunction. Okay, getting, guys, are you with me or not? So far, so good. Say yes or no. Hmm. So there are nobody saying sir, nothing. So there are certain classification of medical device based on the risk. So the classification is basically class A, B, C, and D devices. The risk based on the low risk level. So risk level low means thermometers, tongue depressor, surgical dressing, and swabs. Low and moderate risk means hypodermic needle, suction equipment, hematological reagent kit. Moderate to high risk, lung ventilator, bone fixation plate, intraocular lenses. High risk, cardiac stents, implantable defibrillator, cochlear implants are the high risk. So, guys, can you someone tell me why this? A category is of low risk, and why this B category is like for higher risk? Anyone can explain? You can see what is the difference and why it is classified as the low risk or classified as high risk. Anyone? Can anyone come up? Do you really think it is based on patient condition? Can someone come up again? From outside of the body to inside of the body usage. Yes, exactly correct. So you can see, thank you, Soptik. What he's saying actually is correct. Like the low risk, why low risk? Why? Because it is a thermometer, tongue depressor, surgical dressing swab. These are utilizing outside the body. Now, when the low risk became low to moderate risk, why? Because hypodermic needle, suction equipment, hematological reagent, these are going inside in your body, but not that much. It is still very little extent. Okay. Now, moderate to high, lung ventilator, bone fixation, these are inside your, or you can say inside or sometime on the surface of your body every time whenever these are getting utilized. And high risk is why? Because these are always inside your body, right? Making sense? That's why these are low to high risk. Coming to the next. Now coming to the various regulations of device. So in 1976, this is the journey from 1976 to 1996. Medical device addendum was released. Then in 1978, there was a GMP, that is good manufacturing practice for this medical device. Like medical devices covered under GMP practices also. And in 87, 89, the process of validation, design, and control is being launched. Okay. And all these regulations is basically regulation of the USA, because USA is the leader for this medical device industry. Okay. In 1990, there is a uh, stability medical device assessment kind of thing is happened, where 44% of recall due to the facility design. So they are saying there was a one more testing introduced in 1990, because 44% of device are recalled from the market because of the faulty design. So this what this safety medical device assessment done, it actually do the design assessment and everything, and ensure that whatever the design is correct or it is a faulty. Okay. And in 1996, it became a QSR, the quality stability uh, regulation, which is, and this harmonized the FDA, MDD, and ISO all, and along with this, they are now extending up to more global. Okay, there are certain more device. So these are the based on the classification. Actually, you can say device are categorized into classes according to the degree of risk inherent into the device. This we already seen. Instead of A, B, C, D, they have like class 1, class 2A, class 2B, class 3. The you can say it is same like this previous. The only difference is you can say it class 1, class 1A, class 1B, and class 3. Okay, high risk. The conformity assessment and the CE mark depends on the class of the product. Okay, so they are saying conformity assessment and the central evaluation depends on the product of, like, class of the product, like which, if just suppose you have to evaluate the devices. Okay, so which device you will go to evaluate? Or if you want, if you want to s- check whether this device is properly as per regulation or not, then which one you will do first? Anyone can tell me? If I will say class 3, then how many of you will agree with me? uh, Someone, when you are saying yes, why it is yes? Because high risk should be taken first. Yes, right. Okay, so I hope it is very much clear. Now coming to the non-invasive devices. What this non-invasive device means actually? Anyone? Non-invasive device means the device which invasive is actually means to spread. Okay. So when it is non-invasive means it is not getting spread by the device. Okay. Or it is not dependent on the device to device. It is restricted to only a single device. Okay. Or you can say that if there is a malfunction in device, then directly or indirectly it will not going to impact your condition. Okay. So they are also like class 1, class 1A, class 1B, and class, they have certain these classes only. So what is this class actually? In contact with injury, skin provide mechanical barrier, example plaster, wound gauges. Okay. What is the class 2A? Intended to manage micro environment of the wound, control moisture at wound, example hydrogel dressing, not for the extensive wounds. Okay. So they have given a warning also, when you are utilizing for extensive wound, then it will not a part of the class second A. Class second B, intended for the wound which breach dermis and heal only by secondary intent, like severe burns, temporary skin substitute. Okay. So they have certain more regulations for class 1, like on 11 February 2015, new online application system for class 1 device, that is device online registration system, is there. So whenever you want to go for the device approval, you have to fill this form for class 1 drug. Guys, can you mute yourself, please? Let me check who is speaking. Did. Now coming to the class 2. So safety and performance need to be adequately demonstrated, may need clinical investigation if insufficient existing of the clinical data. So what they are saying, that safety and performance need to be adequately checked, okay, for class 2 drugs. And when you do not have the sufficient clinical investigation, then clinical data is also insufficient. So actually, these devices are basically designed to help or to support the, you can say, when you have one, you are going to utilize the dressing. When you have some breakage of bone, then you are going to utilize plaster or bone fixation plate kind of thing. So these are actually to here to support the that improper functioning, and it will convert into the proper functioning. So that's how device. So what they are saying, device requiring clinical investigation. So class 3 drug is, sorry, class 3 drug I'm saying, sorry. Class 3 medical device actually require the clinical investigation and introducing new concept of the device into the medical practice. Existing device modified so a novel feature may have important psychological effect or its affect clinical performance and safety of the device. So what they are saying actually that clinical investigation are required for basically for class 3 type of drug. Why? Because these are again very high risk high risk device, and we have categorized these devices based on the risk only. Okay. So device incorporating material previously untested in humans. So what requires the clinical investigation? Or you can say when it is required a clinical investigation, when you are utilizing any new product into the device manufacturing which is untested into the human body. Okay. Device either CE marks or non CE marks. So CE is something central in evaluation. It is like just ISO in India. Same for this device, we have CE marks. Okay, being proposed a new for a new purpose or function. Okay, in vitro and on animal testing of device cannot be mimic the clinical situation. Very much correct. So they are saying that suppose you are utilizing a device on the in vitro studies is in on human or on animal only, not on human. Then animal study, or you can say you just want to mimic the human study inside lab without human. Okay, that cannot be mimic the exact clinical situation, that what is the real scenario, you cannot test those scenario in the lab. New manufacturer especially of a high risk devices. So they are saying clinical investigation are required for the device which are manufactured by the new manufacturers. Suppose there are players which are manufacturing drugs from years now, they are decided that they will manufacture a device. They will manufacture a BP machine from now onwards. So whether you will trust the machines which are already present into the market from various other players which are manufacturing these BP machines from years, or you will buy the machines from the company who just launched their machine. But obvious that who are already existing into the market, you will go for those only, right? So that's why clinical investigations are required. So there are certain directives on medical device. These are also a regulation kind of thing for these device. What are those? So like we have seen in the drug case, there are certain GVP module, there are certain CFR kind of thing. Okay, there are code of federal reserve. Same, they have ECC. Okay, and they have certain numbers and with the directives. What is this? So 90-385 ECC, that is active implant device directive, that is also called as AIMDD. Okay, cover all the powdered implant or partial implants that are left in the human body, like pacemaker. Okay, so again, it is based on the criticality or based on the use, which directive need to be followed by which of the devices. Like these are the devices which are basically inside the body or left inside the body, then this directive need to be followed. Now next is the 93/42. This is basically for the covers most other medical devices. Okay, and 98/78, it is basically for the in vitro diagnostic devices. That is basically the instruments or reagents, okay, or testing kits can be. So these are certain directives based on the which kind of the device they have to follow those particular directives. Coming to the next. Wait. So now based on the reason EU directives they have, so directives, and first question must be the, like, what is the directive and what is the regulation? So you must know regulation is something which we have to have follow, and directive means a guidance. Okay, that is just a guidance. Okay, so there are EU directives and EU regulations. EU directive is basically created or adopt the regulation to meet the aim of the device, or regulation is immediately applicable or enforced by the law of the all member states. Okay, now you can define what is the basic difference between the directive and the regulations. This will ask you during the drug case and even during the device case also. That, so there are certain regulations also which is basically for the EU new medical devices regulations. Okay, so in 2008 they have come with the EU Commission launched the consultant MD framework. In 2012 they have EU Commission published the proposed for new MD regulations. Then 14Q2 we have the EU Parliament adopts the position of the MDR. Then in 15Q3 EU adopts position of the proposed regulations. In EU in 2015, they have regulars between Commission, Parliament, and Council starts. So they have priorly comes together and they have, you know, make some regulations. In 17, they have published the how to adopt this MDR and IVDR in EU origin. Then what will be the key changes? Notified bodies, clinical evidences, and pre-markets. So what is this actually? Strengthen the design criteria, jo- join the audits, like three-member states and commissions come together and they will do the audits, and they will do unannounced audit, like that is called without any notification they will come and directly checking, so that like how much readiness you have. Okay, clinical investigation, or you can say clinical evidences, less equivalence, more data for high risk device, public safety and performance data should be there. Okay, like when you are saying clinical evidences, so how you tested those, like what are the published safety. Okay, whether you are saying that it is safer for the use, but it is written somewhere, it is published in some article or not. Okay, post marketing clinical follow, when one of your patient is taken the device, whether till how long you are going for those follow up, those kind of things are. Now pre-market scrutiny of the high-risk device, common specification, responsible person for manufacturer and authorized representative. This is something same as the QPPV in EU region, that is qualified person for pharmacovigilance activities. Same, they have the responsible person for manufacturers and the authorized representative. Guys, are you with me or not so far? I know this is pretty difficult for you guys because till now we are just reading for the drug, and this is first time we are coming and reading about the device. So, as comparison with the drug, we have same number of regulations in for devices also, but somehow this is the irony, we have know more about the drug only and not much about the device. So that's why pretty much time you feel bored and it is like monotonous, but because you do not know these things. Okay. So what are other changes they have done for the EU obligations? The post-marketing surveillance and the vigilance, okay, the transparency and traceability, the governance and the oversight. So for governance and oversight, they have made the central committees, the expert panels, the expert laboratories. For traceability, they have certain like implant card would be there, unique device identification number should be there, device and economic operations should be there. Okay, operation registry centers should be there, and for this surveillance they have certain central databases and coordination, they have trend reporting, they have enforcement activities that we have to have follow these obligations, though this is the utilization of the enforcement activities. So there are certain more EU regulations based on you can take the snapshot and you can read this in detail. Like these are certain chapters in this regulation of EU, that is 217.745. Okay, so this is what is chapter 1, what is chapter 2. Chapter 1 is basically for the scope and definition. Chapter 2 is for the C marked economic operators reprocessing. Chapter 3 is for identification and traceability of device. Chapter 4 is for the notified bodies. So you can see what they have decided, that these key changes they will do. Somehow these things would be covered in this regulation, because they have decided this till 25th May 217, and these are the key changes, and after that they have published this regulation having all these key changes. Okay, so transition timeline for the MDR. So MDR is nothing but it is a medical device regulation. So you can see this is basically the process of getting certified by a device. Okay, and there are certain period like initial 3 year period from entry into the force, and then like this is the testing before the application, you can say. And next, in we will do the application when we will satisfied with the our medical device, then we will do the application of the medical device regulation. That, and there is a grace period of 4 years. Okay, so within that 4 year period, you will get the you will tested, and you, whatever the documentation they will require, you need to provide those documents whenever, or any testing report required or any clinical investigation required, whatever the required by these authorities, you have to follow, or you have to provide those evidences. And after those, if they are satisfied, then they will give you MDR certification. And in that MDR, you will also get the in this design certification. Okay, and there are certain other associated certifications. Okay, like it may be MDD or AIMD. It depends on the category of the device. Okay, that which certification will going to be received by you during the MDR certification. So this is same like we have the NDA and INDA approval in the drug concept, that they have certain, you need to go for the clinical trial, then post marketing surveillance, then you will submit the application. Okay, same way, the same process we have for this medical device regulation for certification. Now US FDA regulations for device, for pharmaceuticals, they have these CFR, okay, which we already gone through, that CFR 21 312. For device they have 812, part 809 for IVDs, and 814 for PMA, and there are certain subparts, okay, which you need not to be get in details. So this is a very good, or you can say very much or summary kind of thing, like what is the low risk, that is the device class 1, whether QMS audit is required, no, whether the predictor audit availability is there, no, regulatory pathway, it is exempted from any of the US agents, yes, FDA, US FDA timeline 1 month. Okay, when you will go for approval of these kind of device, you will get that within 1 month approval or rejection. So medium risk means class 2. Okay, and regulatory pathway is something which you have to follow as per the PMN 510. Okay, and these are the timeline for US FDA's. Again, medium risk, there are two type of second A and second B, so that's why it is written twice the second. And next last is the high risk. So high risk is again the pathway is the PMA and US agent are required, and it again take 18 to 30 months to give you approval. Okay. Guys, are you with me or not so far? Say yes or no. Is it boring or is it something new? Okay, okay. Yeah, I completely agree that silence is there because you have less information about this. Same way, FDA have their own regulations for medical device. So these are like establishment, registration, and medical device listing. So they have CFR Part 807, pre-market notification, that is 510, CFR Part 807, Subpart E, pre-market approval PMA, that is Part 814, investigational device exemption, that is Part 812, quality system regulation, that is Part 820, labeling requirement. So yes, device also have their own labeling requirement, and based on those labeling based on the this CFR Part 801, medical device reporting, that is called based on the part 803. Okay, so medical device classification, we have talked a lot about these. So these are the classification again based on the US region, based on the EU region. So all these region classified the device based on the level of risk only. No other mode through which these devices are get classified till now. Okay, in future if we will come for some other kind of uh, classification, but now the only parameter for classifying these devices is based on the level of risk, the risk associated with the use of device. Okay, so that's why I am not going. So they are saying that there are certain example and through which CFR part they are getting covered, they are giving that only. uh, this is, you can say, kind of flow chart, like from start till the US FDA approval. Same way, like they have this thing, na? For EU region, same way they have this flow chart for US region. Okay, they have to do the classification of device, whether it is a class 1, class 2, or class 3, identification of the QSR requirement. Okay, predicted device identification, then gap analysis for the source documents. Okay, then you have to compilation of the technical file, then creation and validation of the e-copies, then application submission, then you will get the US FDA approval. Then after approval, there will appointment of the US agent, okay, which always monitor the that device establishment, registration, and listing device listing on the US FDA portal. post-approval activities and compliance. So what is the post-approval activities and compliance? It is like that. Suppose the life of a device is 10 years, so for every 2 years you have to report the functionality, whether it is harmful or whether it is uh, solving the purpose for intended use or not. So that kind of thing, after every regular interval of time we have to, and this is through the online application, or you can say we have to fill those online survey after every 2 years. Okay, guys. So I believe that's it from mine for today's session. If you have any queries, you can ask. Thank you, guys. I am stop sharing. And now over to you for any queries. You can open your mic and you can ask your queries. Over to you, guys. Anyone, any queries? Okay, if no queries, then we can wrap up the session. Thank you, guys. Have a lovely weekend and lovely evening ahead. Thank you. Bye.